and like our first guest that we're about to start talking to in just a minute, I have a feeling.
Yes, our first guest who really kind of blew the lid off it. She's kind of the reason for this saying now, very Asian.
Yeah.
And I think it's really exciting that we have her back. She was ours once. She used to belong to King 5.
I'm a big Michelle fan.
We let her go, but we've got her back right now, and here she is.
You let me go. You let me go.
I honestly did not want to let you go.
I didn't want to go either at the time, but we were in the pandemic. Are we still in the pandemic, by the way?
Sort of-ish.
Okay.
But you know what? That's the one thing we all realized during that time was how important. Oh, we're putting gloves on.
Sorry.
All right.
I know how time goes.
It's crazy. Well, Michelle now, by the way, if you didn't know, she is anchoring the morning news in St. Louis, and you launched the nonprofit Very Asian Foundation, and now she's published a book. And we are so proud of you, and we're so grateful you're here, and that you're in town for just a weekend, but she decided, or just a week, really, a couple days.
Yeah, well, the book actually came out on Friday, so we wanted to launch it in Seattle, and it's a kid's book. It's just a very Asian guide to Korean food, a modern look at like some of the fun Korean dishes. I mean, we talk about kimchi and like you know, the traditional foods, but we also talk about Korean corn dogs and like, you know, Korean fried chicken. By the way, the best Korean fried chicken in the world is here
in Seattle.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I had a spot up north in Edmonds.
You missed that.
I'll tell you about it.
All right, you'll tell me about it. But we're making dumplings today, and you are making them. So what do we got here?
Okay, so we have beef and pork. You don't have to use beef and pork. You can use any protein that you want.
Okay.
You know, sometimes people use tofu.
Okay.
About a half of an onion. Okay, and then you want to do some zucchini that has been kind of drained. So like you cut it up like the size of like erasers, you know?
Yeah, like
a
pencil
eraser.
erasers, okay.
And then you put it like on a cheesecloth or something like this.
And get them, because there's a lot of water.
Because there's a lot of water.
Okay.
And I like to do 2 or 3 cloves of garlic.
All right.
And an egg. Ooh. Basically, we're making a giant meatball.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know what? And you know I love a giant meatball. Actually, Michelle and I, we actually hosted, we judged a meatball competition
That's
once.
right, we did.
Years ago, we were the judges of a meatball competition, and we were very good at it.
Okay, so also what I do, I add a little bit of sesame oil, but my hands are kind of gross now.
I got you.
Just a tad bit of sesame oil and salt and pepper, and then we're done.
Okay, so just like a...
If you want, you can add, that's great, and you can really smell the sesame oil. But if you want, you can also add some kimchi, which is over by the book. It's just some spicy cabbage, but it makes it, you know, a little bit more spicy.
It's fermented. Fermented pickled cabbage.
A lot of probiotics, very
It's good
healthy
for your belly.
That's
Keeps
right.
things going
All
on.
right, so we have this done, and then I guess we can probably go over.
All right, so this is what
Should I
you've
take this
already
off?
made. And it looks like you've got the cabbage in here.
Do you want to grab one?
Sure, okay, I grab one of these.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And I'll grab one too.
Okay.
And you just need a little bit of water.
And you just did this, right? You just go, just to get it ready to be sealed.
Yep, and then just get a tiny spoonful.
Okay, just a tiny spoonful. You know, as we're doing this, I have to say, I love that you decided to make dumplings today, because this is kind of how your whole journey started.
Yeah, so I was working on New Year's Day, and we were talking about what Americans eat for New Year's. And it was like pork for progress, greens for, wealth.
Prosperity.
Yeah, all these things. Did you grow up doing that? Eating?
Yeah, but it was weird stuff, like hearts of palm and sherbet shakes. Don't ask. I have a strange family.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't grow up eating that, actually. When I lived in the South, I ate a lot of greens and
collard
pork.
greens. Yeah.
But not growing up in the Midwest. Okay, so you've got this little half moon shape.
Okay.
Then you want to take one corner and bend it like this.
Okay.
Can you see?
Well, can I take off my gloves?
Yeah,
Or
you
you're
can
not
take
going to be
off your-
offended.
I'm
if I
not
do?
going to be offended.
All right, so you bend it.
Yeah, and in reality, if you can't do it, it's 100% fine.
It's not going to be pretty.
It is.
Arts and crafts, you know me,
So
aren't my
mine
thing.
looks like this, yeah. So it just has like
Okay,
4 little.
and mine looks like.
Oh, hey, you know what? It eats the same. Okay,
That's true.
We're just gonna throw that in.
All right, so you're let's go back. You're
Okay.
talking on the show, on your show in St. Louis,
Yes.
about what you eat for New Year's Day, and then you said.
I had dumpling soup because that's what a lot of Korean people do. Actually, Korean people have rice cake soup, but then a lot of people throw in dumplings.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, here's a hat tip. If you don't if you don't want to fold it, here, try this instead. So anyway, I said that. And this woman complained. She said that she called in to complain. She left a voicemail, said I was being very Asian and that I needed to keep my Korean to myself and that I needed to talk about what white people ate, because if white people got a chance to talk about what white people eat, then they would get fired. So it was this whole big thing. I just shared the voicemail. It went viral. And it actually went viral all around the world.
All around the world.
It was crazy. So we made very Asian shirts, and we sold them like in Germany, China, Korea, Australia. You know, it was just crazy. Then I went on the Ellen Show, and we raised a bunch of money for the Asian American Journalists Association. And then the day that the Ellen Show episode aired, that's when we were able to announce that we could operate as a nonprofit.
Oh, wow.
And then we just got our official 501c3.
Woo!
So
I'm
we're
so
like,
excited.
so we'll take your money.
Yes, because obviously the fact that it went viral around the world
It's crazy.
meant that it needs to be, people needed to be seen, it needed to be talked about. And
Yeah.
I love that you have taken this and run with it, the shirts. Now you've got a book.
The book is crazy. So the book, I think, is really amazing because of the publisher who does it. So the publisher of Gloo Books, Gloo, her name's Karen Chan. She was an attorney, and she said, you know what, I just don't see enough representation in books for my kids. So she started Gloo Books. She did this really great book called What's That? And it's about kind of like the stinky lunchbox moments, because a lot of Asian American kids or people remember having a stinky lunchbox moment. And so, yeah, it's kind of sad. So she made this book. She sent it to me, and I loved it because my son, who's 4,
Yes.
thought he was the main character.
Oh.
And that's never happened. So the fact that he saw himself as the main character, I told her, I was like, oh my gosh, I love your book so much, because my son thinks he's the main character in the book.
Oh, look at JJ right
That's
there.
JJ there.
Aw.
And so she said, well, do you want to write a book? And I said, can I do that?
I'm like,
Can
am
I
I
do
allowed
that? I
to?
don't know. So she really invested in me. And that's another thing I love, because it's woman to woman, you know, like just, I'm going to invest in you, and we're going to write this book, we're going to. So I called my sister, I had her throw in some stories, and we had to actually do a lot of research on food, because you think about, like, you eat a lot of food, but
Right.
you don't necessarily know the origins of it.
That's 100% true. It had to feel good to see. I mean, that representation is so important. Seeing someone that looks like you in a book. You grew up in the Midwest. Now you're raising JJ there. How important is it that you are a part of this to make sure that he has
I think
someone that he sees in books?
Well, I think representation is so important, and it's not necessarily like he needs to see only Asian kids
Right.
or something. It's just this idea of like that's a part of him.
Yeah.
So he'll say, "Oh, Mom, I like kimchi,"
Yeah.
And so that also, I think there's this whole thing about yucking other people's yums. Like, you don't want to do that. So it's just this lesson early in life, that's not a stinky food. This is a really cool thing.
What are we looking at here? This is cute.
These are two little kiddos from Seattle, and their mom is a blogger, as an influencer, and so we sent her the book, and the kids like tried to eat the pages.
They saw the yum.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a really interesting book because it's just, it's a fun book. You don't have to be a kid. You don't have to be Korean. It's just this idea of inclusion. And there aren't a ton of Korean food books for kids out there. So.
And there's stickers too, and kids love stickers.
Oh my gosh, kids
I
love
love
stickers.
that.
Yeah.
The illustration is amazing. How did you find an illustrator?
So Karen did, our publisher did, and it was really important for her to find another, the representation again. So I love Rebecca. She did such a good job with it. And also just like, if you notice, there are little inclusive moments too. Like there's a little girl who wears a cochlear implant. I mean, just little,
this
just
boy's
little
wearing
things.
a yarmulke. I
Yeah.
love this.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful. Okay, well, I want to try it.
I don't think we're gonna get these done, but so I just
okay.
pan fry these in oil, and then at some point I put water in it and put a lid on it so that it
just
steams.
to steam it up.
yeah.
Okay, I love it. To me, you've always been like the snack queen. You fed me. When we anchored together, I would always be running late, rushing around, and I'd come to work, and she'd be like, open her beautiful snacks, and be like, and she would share with me, because sharing is caring.
Well,
It was so
because you
kind.
know what, we had a really long show.
4 hours every weekend morning.
Oh, look at us. Oh my gosh.
We were on the way to the plant show there, I think.
Oh yeah, we were.
There's our
That's
meatball
the
competition.
thing. Why am I making that face?
Why am I eating a meatball in the picture?
Oh, it's not bad.
You're so good.
Sometimes I get nervous. Like, is this going to be a bad thing?
I've never had
You're so
anything
good.
that you've made that was not delicious. I tried to get them to have you make your chicken salad too.
I should have brought it.
I know, I love her chicken salad. She uses grapes in it. That's why I love it so much. All right. By the way, where can people find the book real quick?
Book Larder in Seattle.
Book Larder here in Seattle. We had it on the show last week.
Oh, you did? Oh my gosh. And then also gluebooks.com. Gloo books.
Gluebooks.com. Okay. Michelle is sharing her recipe for very Asian dumplings with us. Just text the word recipe, just the word, to 206-448-4545. I bet you still see that number in your sleep.
I do. Actually, I do.
Michelle isn't going anywhere either. We're catching up with her later in the show. So.